A book and a bev. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to A Book and a Bev. Woo! Yes. We are here this week. It's Georgia, Briony, and Ellie again. Claire, as we keep saying, she is a hardworking woman. She is getting the education continuously. So this week we are covering Danielle L. Jensen's The Bridge Kingdom. And this is one of my recommendations. And I love it. I love Danielle L. Jensen. Like, I love her writing style. And I was so excited to reread this again. Yes.
It's a goodie.
It is. So what are we all drinking?
Well, I couldn't make any decisions. So I'm just drinking White Claw because it's basically alcoholic water. And there's water in this book.
True.
Yeah. Yes.
True.
That's as far as I went. So,
oh, dear. Well, it's my turn to have spicy cough, and I wasn't sure how to play it. Do I do non-alcoholic to try and cleanse my system? Do I do alcohol? Look, why not do both? So I've already had a good crack at these. We've only been going for 3 minutes. I have Prosecco / pineapple juice, leftovers from cocktail night.
Hell yeah.
And water. Stay hydrated, queens.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, who don't follow us on our social medias, A, what are you doing?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? And B, we had a cocktail night on the weekend and we made all these fancy book talk cocktails and it was amazing. So you should go to our social medias and check that out. It's on TikTok and it's on Instagram. You can look and see it. Amazing. For me, what I am drinking is also leftovers from the weekend. I have Alizé and orange juice, which was supposed to be lemonade because it was supposed to look more blue like water. It's now just kind of aqua, which is fine. And then I just put some sugar around the rim because I like to lick it off.
We
discovered this
at
the cocktail night.
I thought it kind of looked like a wave, you know, like it's got like the white of the crashing wave and the blue of the
crest.
I support your choices.
Yes, here we go. So I don't know what it is about this book, but like I've had like one of my good friends, she read it and she was like, oh yeah, it was all right. Yeah, it was okay. And I fucking love it. Like I love this book. I love this author. And don't get me wrong, like sometimes Lara pisses me off just as much as what Amelia does, but I still, for some reason, is hook, line, sinker. I'm like cheering for her. I don't know if it's because she realizes halfway through, like, you know, that, you know, something's fucked up. She's not just like stubborn, but yep. I just fucking loved it. I loved it. And it does end on a note that makes you want to like rip out your hair because you want to read the next book. Like it makes you leaves on that end note where you're like, if I don't read the next book, I'm going to combust.
Accurate. Yes. Very accurate.
Very much so, to the point that I had to read spoilers for the next book. I'm that type of person.
Literally. And the next book is like, we need to put that shit in the fishbowl. We need to put it in.
Oh, 100%.
We'll do that at the end of the episode for y'all.
Damn straight. Well, look, you know me. Give me that death and dick any day and I'm invested. And here we are. We got an assassin. We got the tension. I mean, I hate the beach, but there's beaches and I can support that. It's fine. I don't like sand, but it's fine. And there's a cat. I also like cats. So I was very much about this book. I loved it. And it also has a bunch of my favorite tropes, like the arranged marriage that turns into like a real romance. And then like, who did that to you?
Oh my God, I love that.
Favorite. However, by the final couple of chapters, I was like screaming at these characters just to fucking communicate because you can see what's going to happen. And you're like, why aren't we just having a conversation? But anyways, I digress. And I mean, you know me, I always love a bitch with a dagger. Like I can't help it. She got a thigh sheath. What are you going to do? You can't fight that tension. However, there are too many snakes in this motherfucking book.
Yeah, there's a few.
Too many.
True.
Too
true.
many. There's a fucking island. I can't take it.
There was too. But look, despite that, I adored this book. It has to be the first book relationship since Reese and Feyre that has made me like fully invested again. Yes. So I loved Lara. There's just something about a woman who owns her shit and she's completely capable and assured and beautiful. And yeah, you know what? I think I'm a little bit in love with her. I'm not going to lie. But I think the thing that this book hooked me in with was the ability for me to place myself as the main character, because I'm a very self-centered person. I need to be able to picture myself in all types of scenarios. And in my mind, I am an assassin. Yes, I am. So I was inserting myself into like the battle scenes and the dialogue with Aaron. Hang on. Aaron?
Yeah, I think it's Aaron. Aaron?
I don't know. I feel like Aaron. I'm probably going to say Aaron, to be honest.
I have no idea what I'm going to say, because I honestly...
Who knows with us?
Throughout the book, I was just like, it was changing each time. It was like Aaron. I don't know.
Aaron.
That guy.
Yeah.
Aaron. Yes. Basically, I was also in love with him. I was just there. I was in the jungle with them. But that ending, fuck. It killed me a little bit inside. But then I also quite appreciated the moment, which we will get into, when she's like, watch me disarm 15 soldiers without even lifting my finger. It was a full-on like Charlie's Angels, Drew Barrymore moment where she's like handcuffed behind the chair and she's like, I can break out of these restraints.
And she's like,
that's my move, by the way. For audio only people, I was trying to imitate her legs swirling out of the chair. Like I was a toddler trying to attempt a cartwheel.
You know me, I love the maps. These last couple of books, I'm really coming into myself in my maps.
You really are.
I missed it, but this map is too small.
It is so small.
It's really small.
Tiny.
How am I meant to know what this shit is? I can't read.
Spread it against all these pages. What's with the border?
There's so much space. You have a whole page.
What's with the border?
Printing costs.
But yeah, you know what? Really fucking small. I have good eyes, but this is a struggle for me.
Right.
The one thing I'm hoping is I've seen that, like, so I love the artwork for this first book. I have seen that Dominique Weston, who's an artist I love, has done a cover for the second book. And I've only seen limited photos of the cover art that matches this for the second book. So I think it's swapped. And I really want my books to match. So I'm very distressed by that.
Yeah.
We digress. Again,
what is fucking new? Oh dear. Okay, well, like, to jump in, we basically get introduced to, each of the chapters are in different point of views. So the first one is in Lara's point of view. Now, basically find out that Lara, she's our main character. She lives in a desert compound. And she's basically, it's her and her 11 sisters, and they're like, it's top secret that they're there. It's like this whole thing. Her father is the king of, okay, this is another one.
all right.
Maradrinia.
Oh, I had like
Maradrina?
Maradrina.
Madriana?
Meridian.
Anyways,
Maradrina.
the father's a king.
The father is a king of Maradrina.
He's also a hoe.
He is. He's a hoe.
He's a hoe.
He's a cunt.
He's got a harem.
There he is.
Not the good reverse kind, just regular harem.
Just a regular.
I loved this opening chapter because I know I've spoken about it before, but you know, that first chapter can be make or break, and this was a goodie. So you have her, she's like staring out into the desert, and then you hear like this summoning noise, and she basically heads in and she's talking about how she knows her sisters have all turned and done the same thing, and they're all in their color coordinated outfits. And then I even liked the little details, like as she's like walking inside, she wipes her feet kind of on her calves to get the sand off, and I was like, I can imagine that, like that's what I do. So I was like, okay, except then she puts high-heeled sandals on.
No, yeah, I was a bit like, oh.
What? Why are there high-heeled sandals? And
are
why
they like heels?
I'm just imagining like a croc, essentially.
Croc with a heel.
Like a high-heeled croc, but then one that laces up your calf as well. So it's just, I was like, what is happening? I'm so distressed.
Fucking high-heeled croc.
One complaint though, something I detest about this book is the font changing.
I didn't even notice it.
So like even looking at my first page, it goes from smaller to larger as the page goes down. And then like some of the spacing's weird. It's just interesting. But here we are.
So the king has raised his daughters to be the opposite of Medurdurin. That's not it. Madrid. Okay, we need to find a different name. Madrid.
Madrid. Okay, it's Madrid now.
Guys. So the king has raised his daughters to be the opposite of Madrinian women, who he says are soft, they are weak, they are good for nothing more than keeping house and raising children, except for you 12. And like, if that was the expectation on our society, I would be fucking failing. I do not keep house. I keep nothing.
No,
absolutely not.
all I do is read Smut and drink wine and use my vibrator. That's it.
But we do find out that the daughters have been training since the age of 5 in everything that includes combat, strategy, and the arts of the bedroom. Which, what's involved in that? If it's anything like our sex ed lessons in high school, I'm assuming it probably was not a banana on a condom. No, condom on a banana. Wrong way.
Banana on a condom.
Get on in there.
If you are placing condoms in that method, you're doing it wrong. It is not effective.
No, sir. No. No. The poor sausage, not very good, but we find out basically why they are doing all this training. And the quote is, for as long as memory, Ithacana? Yes.
Ithacana and Maradrina.
Yep, okay, that's it. There we go. Ithacana has placed a stranglehold on trade, making kingdoms and breaking them like it was some dark god. My father and his father before him all sought to break the Bridge Kingdom with assassins, with war, with blockades, with every tool at their disposal, but none of them thought to use a woman.
No fucking shit, because the patriarchy is stupid.
Exactly.
You're right.
We also find out in this moment that in Lara's mind, she's figured out, and she presumes that her sisters have not figured this out, which I'm like, surely it would be on your mind, surely. But Lara's like, only one of us is making it out alive here.
And we find that out because she overheard a conversation. And so but you don't know that yet. So she's giving you all these little bits being like, I will make it out alive, and you're like, it's a lot of stress.
Yeah, you're right.
And we basically, her and her sister sit down at the table with their dad, and the dad's giving his big hero monologue, and talking about the history, and they're so oppressed, and it's all these things. And we find out that the favorite child has been chosen for this special mission, which is that the king of Ithacana, it basically gets a wife. But yeah, so basically the favorite daughter's been chosen, and they're all getting into their food, and then Lara's like, you know what, respectfully, I disagree with your decision, and she poisons all her sisters, so they all just start dropping into their soup. And I love that moment where Lara gets up and she essentially does the whole I am the captain now, and she walks around to the table. She pulls one of the favorite daughter's head out of the soup, wipes her face, rests it on the table, and goes, it's me.
I am the chosen one.
Yeah. And says, you were mistaken in your choice, father. I will be the next queen of Ithacana, and I will bring the Bridge Kingdom to its knees. And you're like,
badass bitch.
That is one way to get a promotion.
True. Fuck them all.
I love chapter 2 starts, and like we find out she's had all these teachers. There's like the master of meditation and the master of blah blah blah, and that we've got the fucking magpie who seems to be this spy master asshole called Seren, and he's like, of course you survived, you little cockroach. And we find out that's been her nickname for years. Yeah. So side note, what is the worst nickname you guys have ever had?
Oh look, Smelly McManus. Mine. Obviously Ellie, Smelly, you get that. But we went to order pizzas one night, and you have to provide your your last name. And yes, sometimes when you spell our last name, I don't do it this way, but my dad does. When he's spelling our last name, he goes MCM ANUS. No, there's no pause. There's no pause. Because you're getting McAnus. Just put another syllable in, so now we're McManus. And yeah,
why am I hearing that as McMayonnaise?
Yeah, so did I.
Look, that would have been better. I would have preferred McMayonnaise, not McManus. So I've been called in. Dad's like, well, off you go. That's your name. Smelly McManus. And it's stuck.
That's so good.
Oh, fuck. Look, I have a big schnoz. So Sam likes to call me Beaky.
Cute. Rude, but cute.
Oh my God, Sam. Oh, well, mine's not like as interesting as anyone's. It's just like Aiden one day, you know, like those like Facebook, like, and they're like, oh, if you take out this letter, this letter, and this letter from your name, like what is your name then? Yeah. And like he did one of those, and he took certain letters out of my name, and it ended up being Gog, just Gog. And then he was like, that is your name from now on, and that is the only name he ever calls me.
Gog.
It's only Gog, and like. Yeah, it's not great. And then like he'll come home and he'll be like, I'll be like, oh, maybe we're gonna get down and dirty. And he's like, Gog, and I'm like, absolutely not.
Not Gog.
Take it out of the bedroom, sir. I don't want to hear it. Anything else? Anything else?
Oh fuck.
But yeah,
amazing.
Oh,
there were a couple of like fucked up moments in this segment.
Yeah.
Quite notably, the person, well, everyone kills themselves basically. So
well, they all get murdered. Her dad's say less, let's kill the help.
So the servants are killed. Then all of the guards turn their knives on themselves. And then the man who Lara says is the thing closest to her as a father, because her father's not really a father, takes a knife to his own throat at her father's command.
That's unfortunate.
Oh, it is.
I'm going to need some therapy.
There's going to be a little bit of trauma involved here, maybe some PTSD.
I mean, granted, her father's taking the change of plans quite well, because obviously he chose the favourite daughter. She's now dead. But he's like, you know what? It's fine. You'll do the job. So Lara's off to get married. And as she's leaving the compound and the compound is blazing in the sunset, we find out, no, Lara did not actually kill her sisters. She has just drugged them so they will appear dead. And then said, oh, we should leave their bodies for the scavengers. And her dad was like, yes, that seems fine. And so her sisters will all survive and will have a chance to be free while she goes on her quest. Very interesting.
Yeah, interesting. She's a little sneaky snake.
Which in my brain I was like, oh no, they're just sleeping. And it reminded me of every time a parent's like, you're driving somewhere and you're like, oh my God, why is that horse lying down in the field? And your parents are like, oh, they're just sleeping. It's fine.
Oh God.
And basically Lara learns a code because the place she's going, they're great code breakers. So she's taught a super secret special code and given invisible ink. And the plan will be that she has to write her real correspondence back to her father to give them intel to infiltrate the Bridge Kingdom on the back of the king's letters, because they'll break hers. So it's fine. We've got this plan. Her father gives her these ceremonial knives with a hidden throwing knife in it as a gift. And Lara has this thought where she says killing was her specialty. And I'm like, I like you, bitch. We might be friends. But as Lara's going on to get married, she also knows that she can never go back to Madrid, one way or the other, because she knows the type of person her father is going to be, and her father will never want anyone to know that she's the reason that they've succeeded in this war. She knows she's basically fucked one way or the other.
Yep.
So her only bet is to get the information and then escape. So that's her plan.
So they're in their caravan, as they put it, on the way to Ithacana, and they're driving through the streets of Madrid. And all Lara sees are children and beggars. And she rightfully asks her dearest daddy why he doesn't help them, because, you know, they're his people. Mm-hmm. Why have you got starving people in the streets? And he says, why else do you think I created you? And it's like, geez, fucking men always needing a woman to solve their goddamn problems. And if they don't have one on their side, they're just going to go procreate one and raise it to do the job for them.
Literally.
I'm only mildly triggered. It's fine.
Oh, God. Oh. So basically, as we said, the moral of the story is Lara is going to marry a king and then trade like all their secrets about their bridge to save her country and then kill the king of Ithacana, probably. And then the quote is, "One kingdom to save, one kingdom to destroy." Oh shit. And I'm already knowing where it's going. You're like, oh fuck, here we fucking go.
Yep.
Here we go. And we also, just in general, like as Ellie was saying, her dad is a fucking asshole. Like he's a fucking prick. He turns around to her after being like, I created you. All this pressure is on your shoulders. If you fuck up, you are dead. And he goes, if you betray me, I will hunt you down. And what I will do to you will make you wish that you had died alongside your sisters.
Oh, lovely.
Thanks,
fighting.
Daddy. Appreciate that.
Talk.
Oh my God. You're so sweet to me, Dad. Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, dear. And then we come to find out Lara can't swim, which seems like a bit of a mild gap in her training.
I get that she was trained in a desert, but surely they would have gone, we are sending you to islands.
We are literally sending you to the ocean.
What if
On a boat.
the big secret they needed was in the water?
Exactly right. I
She would
feel
be
like
fucked.
Fuck. Right back.
There's no
Son's
sign.
dad, you never taught me how to swim.
Tom's dad didn't pack me a boogie board or a life vest.
No.
Cannot swim. We'll
cannot
die.
swim. Shall be staying here forevermore.
Sharks
But
in
also-
water.
Very, very fucking relatable. Because as I am also an assassin in my mind, I also cannot swim.
What?
So yeah, look, if I was in a pool and I was drowning, I could potentially doggy paddle my way to safety or starfish until someone found me.
Just picture you in the middle of the pool, like, help.
Lucky.
Look, Lockie's used to it. He'd see that position and be like, that's my woman. But if I was in an open body of water, dead.
Oh my God. Ellie.
At least. Yeah. Look.
Oh
my
my
God.
God. Falling out. I'm laughing too hard.
Guys.
We arrive to Ithacana. There's a fucking storm. Lara is not dressed in appropriate weather clothing. She is not dressed appropriately. No.
No.
It's fucking hail and rain. It's all fucked. They're all wearing masks, and everyone's like,
Her dress goes basically see-through.
yeah. She ain't dressed for the occasion.
She's not.
No.
She needed a poncho.
She did need a poncho. Can you imagine her getting out of the poncho? She's like one of those bright yellow ponchos.
Like this. Hello, I am your wife.
You'd never expect she was an assassin if she showed up in a poncho.
Very true.
Literally. So yeah, she rocks up and she sees all of the Ithacanan people in masks. That's their thing. They wear masks when they're around other people. And the quote is, dressed in trousers, heavy boots, and a tunic of drab greenish grey, he was tall and broad-shouldered. Her training told her that he was as much a soldier as any of those lining the road. But those details were lost, her heart beating staccato as she took in the helmet that concealed his face. It had a snout like a lion's, open to real glittering canines, and horns like a bull sprouting from both temples. Not a man, a demon. Ooh, amazing.
And he's like, honey, you're
hello.
home.
Oh, honestly, I love
Marriage.
it. Marriage.
I did love, so they get hitched. It's very nice. And like they're doing this weird like hand fasting thing, which I also find very cute with a ribbon. And they're like, oh, it's lovely. And then he's like, cute, but no, throws the ribbon away. and then calls forward someone and they do a "will you fight for each other" type
Yeah.
sound. And it's like, oh my God, this is a change of pace.
Literally turns so vicious, and Lara's like, oh shit, okay, oh fuck. And
It's
then
like, oh fucking all right. Jesus.
one part that I really did like was how King Aaron
Aaron's not as sexy as a.
we find out King Az is a cool dude because he goes, hey daddy, fuck off. and he's like, oh, aren't you going to be nice to your new stepfather, your father and stepfather?
No, it's not that kind of book, Georgia. We've been there.
No incest. No, aren't you gonna be kinder to your father-in-law? And he's like, absolutely not. Go away. And then he's like, and my beautiful wife, sleep now. Drugs her, like puts something over her face, and she goes, no, it's goodbye.
Instead of speak now or forever hold your peace, it's sleep now. Goodbye.
Sleep now, forever hold your peace. And as she's like drifting off into La La Land, she hears him say, what have I gotten myself into with you? And I'm like, oh, it's already happening. I'm
okay with all of the events.
Literally. And so now we get into chapter 5. So we are in the first chapter from Aaron's point of view, and it's very, very nice. Okay. We find out that he has a twin sister called Anna, and we also meet Jor, which is his like personal royal guard. It's like his head.
Jor is basically the comedic relief friend.
He is. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
Indeed.
Sexy older man as well.
Yeah, I feel that too. I do. And they're having this conversation about what they should do with him, with her, sorry. And basically Jor's like, just kill her. Just kill her, like get rid of it, it's fine. And Aaron's like, contrary to the opinions of our neighboring kingdoms, I'm not actually so depraved as to wish death upon an innocent girl. And I'm like,
well, that's nice.
He's a nice man, but little does he know.
Innocent, questionable.
That's questionable. But basically, Aaron's just very unsure on how to handle Lara. He doesn't know what to do with her, but all we know is that they don't trust her as far as they can throw her. Actually, so.
But so far they are fallen for her little act. And we have this moment where Aaron's thinking to himself, he's like, Ithacana needed a queen who was a warrior, a woman who'd fight to the death for her people, a woman who was cunning and ruthless, not because she wanted to be, but because her country needed her to be, a woman who'd challenge him every day for the rest of his life, a woman Ithacana would respect. And there was one thing that he was certain, Lara was not that woman.
She ain't that woman.
She was not. That he thinks. However, I loved his description of Lara here, which was a woman who challenged him every day for the rest of his life. And
That's
it's
what
like,
we want.
yes, I am also that woman. I am not going to make your life easier. I apologize.
Absolutely not.
Literally me. I am a fucking piece of work.
If you would like a day of peace, it's not with me.
You've come to the wrong fucking house. All right?
Yes.
So next chapter, we are in Lara's POV again, and she wakes up and Anna is wearing one of her dresses, and she's like, who the fuck is this woman in my dress? And then Anna's just like, oh, takes the dress off, butt naked underneath, and just waltzes back, puts on her own clothes, and Lara's just like, oh, okay, this is fine. Nice to meet you, this is fine. And so basically Lara's like, I need to go bathe. And she's walking out, and there's this whole situation where she like hears people talking, so she runs over to this little cabin thing or courtyard thing, and she overhears people talking, and then she comes back, she's like, oh, I need to act like I'm not doing anything, goes back to the bathing chamber, which is literally just a giant lake at the back of her chambers. Like,
sounds fucking rad.
It does, it literally does. But I'm also like, so many eyes on my naked body.
Yes.
I did not know you all wanted to view this. Thank you. So she's like, oh, I need to get, pretend I'm not doing anything. And then she turns around because she hears the door closed, and there is King Aaron, and he is wearing a towel held very lowly
Low
on his
towel.
hip. Very lowly.
I did absolutely adore this scene because Lara's figuring it out. So she's been taught that basically, she's probably going to have to seduce him. So she's trying to figure out what he wants. And, they have these kind of little bits of banter. Her hands twitch towards her knives. And he's like, do you even know how to use those? And she's like, I've cut my fair share of meat. And then she kind of backtracks and she's like, wait, I can't be dangerous. And she's like, oh, but I'm not a common soldier. And she can see that he loses interest. And she goes, oh, say less.
Interesting.
Boobs.
Good news.
He gets pretty bored of her and she thinks that she's just like everyone else to him, and that will not do for her, no sir. So she takes a bath, stripping in front. No, he strips in front. Who's naked?
She turns around and then like drops the towel, so he's like looking at her booty.
Hello. And then she's like, leave your towel and the soap.
Yeah.
You can come back.
Come back. And then he has to like run back to his room naked.
Oh God.
Fantastic.
Honestly, I really enjoy the banter already between them. Love it.
Oh yes.
So move on to the next chapter, and she has a hidden compartment in her suitcase for poisons and drugs. And I just like the song that's in my head the whole time is I'm a woman on a mission. And like it's like this whole like I just picture her like she's like going in her compartment, she's like putting it in her sleeve and stuff. That's all I had. And I'm like, oh God, no one tell Schapelle Corby that this woman has a compartment like this for drugs. I'm sorry.
I made a boogie board reference too. My gosh. It's your episode, hun.
Oh my God, it's Bali. Keep going.
Sorry. Oh.
It is. It basically is second. Oh, okay. Anywho.
Just gonna
I'm gonna leave that there. But I do love this moment. Lara's having dinner with Aaron and Anna. They're discussing the roles of women in Ithacana, and Lara is quite shocked that women are not lowly doormats used for fucking and birthing children only. And there comes my favorite quote. What's between your legs doesn't determine the path you'll walk in life. Yes, Aaron, correct.
fantastic.
Already falling in love with you.
Honestly. Thank you, Aaron.
Bare minimum, but yes. And then
True.
we meet one of my favorite characters, which is Vitex the cat. And I'm thrilled. He's big, he's moody, I want to snuggle, it's great. And we have some more banter as well while we're at dinner when Aaron's trying to figure out what the fuck is her deal. And she's like, oh, yeah, my training. He's like, and what exactly did that training entail? And Lara's coming out with the, perhaps fate will favour you, and one day you will find out, Your Majesty. Although, as it stands, you'll need to content yourself with my flawless needlework. I love it so much.
Amazing.
But our spicy little minx, she's like, I'm wasting no time. And she drugs these motherfuckers so that she can spy. And
At least have a night.
yeah, she's like, absolutely not. Sleepers for the week. Let's go. But I do also like, so she basically, Aaron disappears and the drugs are kicking in for him, so he'll fall asleep in his bed. Anna just passes out at the table and she's pretending that she's drunk. So they carry Anna back and the guy's like, oh, we're just going to check like the bed for snakes.
That's never a sentence you want to hear.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely fucking not. But when they put Anna to sleep, Lara is like, I must investigate. And so she's like, I'm going to go ninja on this shit. And she's like, you know, the spy song, it's like, you know, yes, exactly. That's what's happening. She's like climbing against walls. She's like, so basically she's like, I need to go investigate. Let's go. She goes into Aaron's room. Aaron's room. And this is it. She's like looking at him. The moonlight is like hitting his jaw and he's beautiful. And the quote is, circling the bed, she examined his face. High cheekbones, strong jaw, full lips, and black lashes that a harem wife would die for. scruff marked the line of his chiseled jaw, and she had to curb the urge to reach out and run her finger along it. And I was like,
Why stop yourself?
I'm horny. I am horny. Basically, what happens, as you can imagine, because it's never easy for the little sneaky minx.
Before you jump in, Jordan, can I just say, immediately I'm like, oh, this is cute. This is so nice. We're at chapter 7.
Yeah.
And this bitch, Danielle, this bitch goes, why wait?
Why fucking wait, indeed.
We're just going to get a sneak peek, guys.
Literally. And so, of course, Aaron wakes up and Lara's like, oh, fuck, shit. Oh, shit. And he's like, Lara, is that you? And he's like all drugged up, remember? So she's like, oh, fuck. She like dips her finger into this like drug that she's got, the sleeping drug, puts it on her lips, and she's like, it is me. Waltzes over.
Grandmummy, it's me, Anastasia.
Not an Anastasia reference.
No. Oh.
Why are you guys my friends? We don't know.
It's my favorite movie ever. Do not taint it.
Anyway, no. So she's like, here I am. I'm going to come and straddle you. So she's like, here you are. And then he's like, well, okay, there's kissing, there's tongues, there's teeth, there's all touchy. Oh, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, I'm sleepy.
Both of it.
And passes out. But then it's obviously on her lips too. So at the end of the chapter, it's like you don't know if she's
made it back
or not. Like, you're like, has she made it? Because it like cuts out mid-sentence of her like, I need to get out. I need to get back to my chambers. And that's it.
Ooh, tense times. But also, big fan. She then goes off exploring, because naturally that is what one does when in a foreign area surrounded by snakes. So she's off gallivanting. She then obviously falls into a giant hole after discovering that she's being followed, and nearly gets attacked by a giant fucking snake.
Love
that. It's distressing.
Yeah, look, can't say I'd cope in that situation. I mean, I think I've made it fairly obvious what I lack in terms of everyday life skills, let alone anything beyond the ordinary. So, yes, I think I would quite die.
I feel that, don't you?
Yeah, I feel that on a personal level.
Yeah.
And never fear, Aaron was right behind her, and he is there to help and save her.
Never fear, Aaron.
Aaron, who do we know?
So once the snake is taken care of by Aaron, they carry on a little discussion about the treaty and why. So the treaty, oh, by the way, there's a treaty in place, which means that in exchange for a bride, there would be peace between Ithacana and Madrid for 15 years.
Good to want things.
Yes. So they discuss this treaty, and he basically is telling her why it's not the best idea for her to go off by herself in the jungle. And he, as they get into this little argument, she goes to him, "You've won the pissing contest. Shall we carry on?" And my God, have I said these exact words to my partner?
Literally all the time.
Love it. While they're out there, he asks her what she was doing out exploring, and she says that she wanted to see the bridge, and he's like, oh, the bridge. And it's like, calm down, my dude. Obviously everyone wants to see the bridge. The bridge is the hot girl of this story. It's fine. But Lara says, I wanted to see the bit of architecture that was worth the rights to my body, my loyalty, my life.
God,
and Aaron is just twitching at that, but he takes her to a good spot to see the bridge. It's all very fantastic. Congratulations.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's this like whole thing where he's like, the bridge is everything to Ithacana. Oh, sorry, this is Lara's internal monologue. It is, the bridge is everything to Ithacana. Ithacana is everything to him, just as Madrid is everything to her. Madrid. But hold the fucking show. All right.
Turns out the people of Madrid have they have a code system with drums or sirens. It's some sort of loud, almost musical thing that they give codes about what the fuck is happening on their islands. And so we find out there are raiders.
That there are. He's like, stay the fuck here. I'm going to go deal with this. And she obviously does not do so because she's like, this is a time that I could use to my advantage. So she's basically running to the shore. He's like, basically like, kill them, kill the raiders, fuck them up. The ocean's going to eat them anyway. It's fine. And she's faking being upset. She's like, no, like, you can't do this to them. And he's like, they came in seeking a fight. Like, they deserve this. And she's like, no. And she falls on her knees and just watches like the ships. And he's basically like to his men, he's like, just pick them off one by one so that they can't get in. And Lara's like, can't get in how? They're in the ocean near the bridge. How would they get onto the bridge? Interesting. And then at low tide, she sees that there is an entrance in the bridge.
The things that she's looking for. But what I'm looking at are the sharks.
Oh no.
Absolutely not. This is why I don't go in the ocean. It is their territory.
Literally, me too.
Yes, 100% agree with that. Look, I have heard that dolphins are meant to be scarier than sharks because of how intelligent they are. Like
they also fuck.
Yeah, so they can choose to be violent, whereas sharks are just like, you're in my territory, right?
And dolphins are the only creatures, mammals, other than humans that have sex for pleasure. And that was the super disturbing to find out.
Yes.
So if I go into the ocean, I might get fucking
fucked by a dolphin. Depends on how shaved you are.
Oh no.
Oh, bleh.
It's very troubling. I mean, good for them. You do you, boo. But also, I'm never getting in the ocean.
No.
Swear to God,
Look,
if I ever see a dolphin again, I'm never going to be able to look at it the same. I'm going to be like, you.
My point was, we've never heard of anyone being ripped apart by fucking Flipper, but now I'm just worried about they're going to be attracted to my bare fucking vagine and they'll be like, let's face it, I'm not in open bodies of water anyway. I'm starfished.
It's like, Ellie's like,
the dolphin
nothing
like, she's
to
asking
see.
for it. The dolphin is any fucking gross fucking American dickhead.
Ellie's like, absolutely nothing to see here.
Pushing my way out of danger. Dolphin attack.
Anyways, we leave the dolphins. And Lara sends the first message back to her father, just basically a normal letter to test the waters.
Yes. She ends up actually getting, in the next chapter, she gets a letter back, and it also, she's like, they basically cracked a code that they sent in the letter, which didn't say anything. It's like they knew that that was what they were going to crack. It's this whole thing.
Yeah, they need to give them something to crack, because now you've cracked the code. You're not going to look for another one, are you?
Exactly. And then we get this little moment between Lara and Aaron. And it just took me a minute. Aaron. And they play cards for truth. And I was all here for this. I was like, yes. I love this. They're playing truth. It's this whole thing. He asks her in this moment what her worst memory is. And in her internal monologue, she is going through everything that she endured during her training, all the torture. And like, you just figure out, it's just reaffirming what you already know, that she was brainwashed as fuck, or like, this is what her father has embedded into her brain.
Yeah.
She knows, which is, this is a quote that she remembers from her flashback. So it is, we do this to protect you. If you need someone to hate, someone to blame, look to Ithacana, to its king. If not for them, if not for him, none of this would be necessary. Bring them down, and no Madridian girl will ever suffer like this again. And I'm just like, oh my fucking God.
I mean, that's just a fucking lot. But also, this whole scene is one of the reasons I love Lara. Because the issues that we've had with, say, other main characters is that they're not self-aware, that they're useless, that they're stubborn, and they're not trying to use their shit. Lara is clearly like, she's aware, she's like, the best lies are mostly truth. So she gives real bits. And like the worst thing that happened to her is when she was taken away from her mum. And she gives that story, and that's real. And I love these little bits where you see she's actually smart, she's got cunning, she's planning, she's using her skills, and that just made me love it more.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. And like with her opening up, with her giving those little truths, he then opens up and he tells her that his parents actually drowned and they're dead.
Also quite like Elsa and Anna.
Oh, stop it.
My favorite part about this card game is that when they're starting to play this game of truths, Lara's like, how did your parents die? And Aaron is like, what's your favorite color? It's giving me very much, do you like cheese vibes?
You like cheese?
My favorite scooter. Then we have this moment where Aaron's like, look, if you think I was going to spill my secrets over like some whiskey, you've got another thing coming, honey. And Lara's like, I'm not a little bitch. So the quote is, Lara leaned back in her chair, never breaking eye contact. With both hands, she pulled the skirt of her dress higher and higher until her thighs were revealed, seeing the intensity of his gaze shift to a different target. Lifting one leg, she pressed a naked foot against his chest, watching his eyes race from her knee to her thigh to her silken underthing she wore beneath. How about you take your bridge, she said sweetly, and shove it up your ass.
Amazing.
Such a good fucking quote.
I'm like, oh my God.
I love you, bitch.
I love you.
It's just everything, because that's exactly what I would love to do in that situation. It's just like, you know what? Go fuck yourself.
Fantastic. And like, Aaron is loving this. He's like, yay. Basically, we leave this scene and Lara knows that the next day she gets to meet Grandma. Seems fun. But we're basically learning throughout some of these chapters that Aaron isn't the bad guy that she thought he was. And he wants Lara to help him make the world better for his people, but for all people, because like we said, he's a dreamer. It's very cute. Then we have another amazing trope where Aaron's having these thoughts and then he's interrupted with, you've got to come help the queen. So he runs in and Lara's having a nightmare and he breaks down the door. He wakes her up, and then as she's hunched over recovering, he sees her scarred back, and we get one of my favorite things. Who did that to you? Titties on high alert. Just fantastic. It's
my favorite. It's my favorite trope. Absolutely, she's on every other one.
And it's amazing. It's amazing. But we find out the scars are from lashings that Lara received after breaking out of the compound to watch life in the real world when she was living in the desert. Clearly a very bright, poignant red flag. But once she wakes up in the morning, she decides it's the perfect time to work out. So
another absolute no, brought to you by exercise.
Oh my God, another immediate no. And if there were any similarities between myself and Lara, because I am her in my mind, that ends now. It ends now. Your girl is not going to do 50 pull-ups and 300 fucking sit-ups as soon as she awakes. I'm not going to do that at any point during the day.
Look,
let alone first thing in the morning.
Absolutely not.
No. Anywho, that was just my personal gripe with the story. Very, very relevant. But they then journey by boat to Aaron's grandma. She's on another island. And Lara proceeds to get violently ill and freaks the fuck out, which can you blame her? But I love the moments between them here where his like hand is on her back, like steadying her, or she's like up against him and the hot breath is in her ear and he's like, I've got you, I'm not gonna let anything happen to you. And I was like,
I don't like the description hot breath, because I picture someone behind you like
oh no.
Absolutely not.
no, yes. But I do love the moment. I totally do. So basically in the next chapter we end up learning more about Aaron's parents, and Lara is still blindfolded, but they're actually in the bridge now because she is just violently sick, and he's like, no, we need to get her to safety. He's like, he's such a good man. Basically what we find out is that his mother had a really bad heart, and one night she had a bad fit and his mother attempted to take her via boat to his mother, which is the grandmother that they're going to see.
You did say his mother took his mother to his mother.
His mother took his mother to his mother. That's it.
Makes sense. It tracks.
Exactly.
Mums.
So mums. And to see if like his mother could help
His
Aaron's
mother.
And because she's a healer. And basically there was a very, very bad storm when this happened, and they never arrived. Finally. What is funny?
Just got that fucking, you know, the Olaf short where he's telling the, at least they've got each other. Their parents are dead.
True though. True. Not wrong. Quote that Aaron uses is, I suppose it was because he loved my mother enough that the hope of saving her was worth his own life. And where the fuck? I hope that someone would risk their life like that for mine, but I know they wouldn't. Aiden would literally be like, oh, that's unfortunate. At least I can pay off the house with your life insurance.
Right.
Look, it is what it is.
What it is. So they end up exiting the bridge, and we basically find out that there is not just one opening to the bridge. There are multiple openings and doors that literally blend into the walls, which is key information that Lara is taken note of in her little noggin, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Then we arrive to Nana's house. Nana seems fucking crazy. I'm like,
She seems like quite a dick, and not like a funny dick. Like,
no,
just a straight up asshole.
straight up fucking asshole. And basically what we find out is that Nana used to be a spy for Lara's grandfather. So like what she went like she worked for Lara's grandfather, but she was
in the
actually a spy.
harem.
Yeah,
She fucked
she fucked up. She fucked.
Lara's grandfather.
What is
Yeah.
it with the Nana's fucking main characters?
Fucking nonsense.
not.
Can't trust them.
No, you can't.
But
But yeah.
also, let's hope no one's related.
Oh God, dear God, let's hope
That
not.
would be a turn.
Oh dear God, no, we don't want incest in this book. Take it back.
Absolutely not.
But yes, so basically Nana is like, don't think I don't know what you're fucking capable of, you little bitch. And yeah, Lara's like, whatever.
She's like, I'm nothing. I am a sweet flower.
But then basically they're on their way back and something is going the fuck on. There are the sirens, something's happening, and there's another raid. And they are the closest ones to it. So they have to go. And unfortunately for them, Lara has to come. But fortunately, really. But at the time, they're like, fuck, what we're going to do, we have to
They're
do
like, oh no, okay, look, we'll just like hide her nearby. It's fantastic. But it means she gets to see shit.
She does.
They like go through the bridge. They like rappel down the side. The whole lot of
Very full on.
it's very dramatic. I loved it.
Oh, absolutely, yes. So basically, Aaron and the gang are the reinforcements to hold off the invasion. They find another opening in the bridge, and Aaron is like, if you tell anyone this, I will kill you myself. And again, why am I turned on? Because like, you could.
I'm okay with all of this.
As long as you're the one killing me, you could do it. I
Oh
will.
God.
Here I am. Take me as I am.
I'm waiting.
If you don't take me, Father Bell will. Sorry. Good night.
But so we have one of my favorite moments of the book where, like, obviously Lara's like, yes, I will just wait out of here. I'll be super safe. And then she's watching the combat. She's basically using it. She's like, this is a teachable moment. But then she can hear some more of the invaders coming up behind her. And she's like, well, that won't fucking do, will it? So she waited for them to rush her. These men, as much as Maradrena's enemy as they were Ikana's, but they stood their ground, gaping at her as if uncertain what to do next. You're not supposed to be here, they say. Lara shrugs and says, you're bad luck, I suppose. Then she threw her knives in rapid succession. The soldiers dropped blades in their throats. And Lara just unleashes herself. She's like, oh my gosh, I don't have time for this. You're dead. You're dead. It's fantastic. And she's using their weapons to kill them. Which I just loved. It was fantastic. But then she's like, oh, fuck. I can hear that some have gone past me. They went a different way and they're going, and my king is going to be outnumbered.
I can't let that happen because
he can't die yet.
He cannot die yet. He's got to die by my hand.
Which I love that trope, which no one gets to kill you except me.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, she runs back and she sees someone is coming at Aaron's back. She's like, fuck no, jumps in between them and just fucking stabs him. And then he's on top of her. Aaron is like, hell no, lifts him up, slits his fucking throat. And again, I am turned on. Someone guzzle the blood. Sorry.
It's concerning.
Sorry. And basically, the fight ends. They win, but they have lost a lot of fucking people. And she keeps thinking, as she's looking at the burning village with the dead children and the dead people, in her mind, her internal monologue is, do you think it will be any different when your father comes with his army? Do you think they'll show any more mercy? And I'm like, oh, that dilemma. And this is why I like Lara so much, is because she uses the brain. It's not like she's oblivious to what she is feeling and what she is seeing. Like what a lot of the other main characters we kind of see do. They're kind of oblivious until the last moment. Then they're like, oh, I'm going to switch sides right now. Whereas this one is like, you can tell that she is having that internal dilemma. She is like, I don't know how to feel. This is everything I've brought up to know. This is everything. But is it what is actually truthful?
Yeah.
That's why I really, really, really like her. So basically, she ends up dropping to her knees, rips fabric from her tunic, and starts to tend to the injured. So she starts to do like healing things. Good on her. And then we get this fucking beauty from Aaron in the next chapter. I will say this once and never again. If anyone harms her, they will lose their head. That goes for you. That goes for Anna. And it goes to my grandmother too. Least she think me ignorant to her ways. Understood? And I am like, yes, sir. Indeed. I am turned on again. Because they're like, you know, she's seen too much. And he's like, she just saved my fucking life, dude.
Like, calm farmer, dude. But Aaron's reviewing the dead bodies and he's like, well, isn't that's super interesting? These ones over here that were found on a different part of the island, they were killed with their own weapons. That's weird.
That'd be strange.
That's so unusual. And he feels this prickle in the back of his neck and he turns around and Lara's just like, what's up?
Hello.
Nothing to see here. And just pieces out. But then we also get this mention of this place called, I want to say, Erin Hall. Moral of the story, without the bridge, this place doesn't exist. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. What is this place? We don't know this name. Lara's like, I'm going to remember that. Put that in the little mental bank and we'll cash that in later.
Exactly. Then the next chapter, we get the start of war tides. Basically, it's the two coldest months out of the year where the tempest seas were calm enough for Ithacana's enemies to attack them, and they had come early this year.
That's
Awesome.
unfortunate.
Great. Cannot wait. While the girl who cannot swim is here. Awesome.
Good.
Basically, she ends up going back to Nana's house, which she's absolutely thrilled about.
So stoked.
So stoked. And
Yeah.
we meet a guard called Taryn.
Yep.
And Taryn seems very, very fucking nice. And I really like her. And the quote that Taryn uses to Lara is, "You could have stood by and let him be killed, but instead you risked your life to save him. That's not the act of an enemy." And I was like, oh,
That's you. You little cotton socks.
yeah.
I love Nana here as well. She goes, "Quit plotting and help Taryn with the dishes, you lazy tit." I like
I
that.
love that.
That's going to ride alongside Dirty Bird.
Yeah, that is good, you lazy tit.
You lazy tit.
Oh, but basically in this, we continue to learn a little bit more of a backstory about Taryn. And I really don't know why it's relevant, but then at the end of you come to realize that it's just there so that you feel more guilty later on. That's basically it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's just to sprinkle that bit of, you fucked up real bad and you better feel guilty for it.
Mhm.
And basically they end up going back to Nana's afterwards because they go out and they actually end up shooting catapults and she sees more of the city. It's this whole ordeal. It's really nice. And they become good friends.
It's so nice that they bond.
It is. It's beautiful. But again, we just get that so that we feel worse later. But that's fine. They go back to Nana's and Lara drugs them both. Because why wouldn't she?
Nana's got the shits. Literally. She's knocked, at least she knocked Taryn out. Taryn's just snoring. Nana, she was like, "I need you occupied in the bathroom, shitting water." But we have this moment where she sneaks out to go investigate, and like while she's doing that, she sees that Aaron is actually coming to grab her, and she's like, "Well, this is unfortunate." And she's like running back, and they have this whole moment where it's like, "Oh, I was just going to the toilet in like the jungle because your Nana's shitting herself on the toilet." And he's like, "Oh God, like Taryn, you should have known." She's like, "Sorry, I was just like sleeping." And you're like, "Oh, that's unpleasant, that's uncomfortable." But anyways, Aaron's taking her back, and they have to walk through the night to basically get back to the kayak to get back to the island, and she has to walk through shallow water to get to the boat, and it's the only path in the darkness is essentially this glowing paint on like the rocks in the water. And so she's going up to her waist and it's getting higher, and like she's holding on to Aaron to lead her through, but she's not taking it well.
No.
Which I feel like Ellie's relating to. But we get this quote where it's Lara's in the water and she's freaking the fuck out. She's like, "The second I'm on dry land, I'm going to gut you like a pig." She hated being afraid, and the only thing strong enough to chase that emotion away was anger. "I'm going to smother you in your sleep." A dozen voices laugh. Jaws voice the loudest of them all, and she finally shows her true intentions.
Little do you know. So basically, they're coming back and they see out in the water there is a Midian
enemy.
There is an enemy fleet, and they're basically waiting for better weather to be able to come and raid them. Basically, Aaron is like, Ithacana cannot afford to attack their ships first, and Lara ends up having this internal monologue that goes, "For as long as memory, Ithacana has placed a stronghold on trade, making kingdoms and breaking them, like it was some dark god. She believed him without question. Yet Aaron's words, they weren't those of a ruler with godlike power. Quite the opposite. They were the words of a leader of a kingdom fighting to survive." And I'm like, here she goes. Those cogs are turning.
Lara's then trying to spy. So we have these scenes where, like, say, for example, she'll be on the top of a building watching, and then she nearly gets caught. So we have these moments where she's slowly getting more intel, but she hasn't used any of it yet. Then we have this great moment with Lara taking the initiative.
But she does. She decides to work on her seasickness. So she makes Taryn take her out on a little boat so she can get used to being on the water. So they're sitting in this little kayak until she gets used to it. And then Aaron sees them and paddles on over.
I love there's that moment where like the boat's just kind of like turning. They make eye contact. He's like, is that my fucking wife in a kayak? So they paddle over and he's like, what are we doing?
You guys are right.
And Lara's just like trying not to throw up. And Taryn's like, well, she thought she'd give it a shot. And he's like, okay, I'll take over. So he jumps in and we have this whole moment where he's got like a teeny tiny cut on his hand. And Lara's like, oh, you should look after yourself. I'll bandage it. And it didn't need to be bandaged. Both of them knew it, but that didn't stop her. And we've got that moment where she's like bandaging his hand and he's like sitting close and like they're just like we're just touching. It's fantastic and I'm into it.
Yes.
It was amazing. And then he asks her how she learned to be a healer. And she recalls how her training came from trying to save the lives of the Valcotton warriors she and her sisters had fought in the training yard. So knowing that regardless of the outcome, they were going to have to kill them again anyway, they'd have to fight these soldiers, injure them, heal them, kill them. Again, very traumatic experience for children.
It's very troubling.
Very
She
troubling.
doesn't tell that to him for obvious reasons.
The next quote is one from Lara, and it is, she had won his lust. That much was clear from the way his eyes skimmed over her unlaced neckline of her tunic. Winning his trust, however, was proving to be far more of a challenge. And then basically the next part of this is Aaron ends up getting attacked.
So we're having this moment and then it's like, oh my gosh, we're being invaded again. And you, oh my God, we're the closest. We're going to have to respond. And Lara's like, well, take me with you because I can help. I can be a healer. It'll be fine. Don't even worry about it. So, and he doesn't really have much of a choice. So they go. And this is another one of my favorite Lara moments is this whole scene. So there's the invasion on the beach. Lara is basically camped out with the healers, but she's watching this go wrong. She's watching these people get stabbed or being stuck in the water drowning, and they're not able to get to help. They can't get to the medics. And so Lara, she goes, say no more, I got this. And she's having this mental thoughts where she's like, do something. Her eyes flicked back to the wounded bleeding out on the beach, drowning in the waves, and then she was over the rocks and running. Lara had been the fastest of her sisters, built for speed, Master Eric had always said. Today she ran like she'd never run before. And she basically is running into the battle, grabbing the wounded, pulling them out to safety or out of immediate danger. And as the battle is turning, she's getting more and more into danger. There's even the scenes where she's basically fighting, like she's getting in there and Aaron's there and he's like, what are you doing? And
why
she's
are you
just
here?
She like lobs a rock at someone and she's like,
Yes.
fine, and keeps going.
That's my favorite part is when like he's like, what are you doing here? And she's like, I'm saving people, and then just like throws a rock just past his head and it like smashes some guy in the face.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Love that.
My God, my aim could never.
Yeah, can't relate.
Totally feel that. And basically you find out after this whole situation, so they win again, but again there's many a fallen, and Aaron is falling for her, and his internal monologue is, there was, Aaron thought, nothing the great beyond could offer that would be more perfect than her. And I was like, oh. Following this, we end up traveling back to Midwatch, I believe the main place is, and there's the whole like single bed trope, but it's actually bunks. So there's 8 bunks that they're staying in. There's 10 people. Our king, being king that he is like, I'm going to sleep on the floor. And Lara's like, no, don't come up here, darling. And there's this quote that is, it was very likely the least desirable situation to share a bed with his wife for the first time. Even as her hair tickled his nose, his arm fell asleep under her head and a crick formed in his neck. It occurred to Aaron as he drifted off that there was nowhere else he'd rather be. Oh my gosh. And basically, I know. And basically where they are is basically this place. It's like where
they have like these little storm shelters.
Yeah,
almost.
It's called the Sea of Stars. So it's like, it's basically where they are. It's terrible. It's hard to get into. They fucking struggle to get into it, but they get into it in the end. And then I think it's Taran is like, go take her to that place, you know, we're in this little plot. And so it's called the Sea of Stars. And Lara is looking at the stars and in the water and whatnot. And she's like, wow, it's the most, I've never seen something so beautiful. And oh my God, I love this part. His internal monologue is, neither had he, but Aaron forced his eyes from her face to the calm water below. And I was like, oh no, not the like, you're beautiful, more beautiful than this.
Oh,
No.
favorite moment.
Killed me. And in this conversation, we start to see Lara contemplating if Ikana might not be that evil. He asks her if this changes anything, and she goes, it changes everything. Oh,
Kills me.
Fucking hell yes. Fuck yes. And so she ends the chapter like that, and then we start the next chapter with everything had changed and nothing. And I'm like, fuck, this is when I'm getting pissed off. I'm like, I'm getting flashbacks to Amelia, and I'm like, shut the fuck up. Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Oh my God.
I know. And then after the battle, so they've had this beautiful tender moment, and then she goes and sneaks off during a quiet time and puts some stones by this invisible entrance near the bridge, so that when she sends notes back home, the Madridian soldiers can come in and like work out how to enter the bridge. And it's like, really, Lara?
After that whole beautiful, he was saying all those nice things about you, and you're fucking it up.
Saved all those people just for them to be murdered by others.
There's a lot of whiplash at the moment. So, and like Lara's conflicted. She's trying to figure her shit out, and I can appreciate the journey, even though it's very fucking frustrating. So we're back and forth. And then the next moment we've got is she's waiting. She's like, Aaron had said he'd be home, like we were going to have dinner together tonight. Like, you know, the weather was finally going to be nice enough he could be home, but he's not here. What's going on? And she's stressing. And I'm like, ooh, look at you trying to pretend you don't care.
Yes.
But Aaron is wounded in battle. So he comes back stumbling through, and he's got an arrow in him. And she's there, and he's like, oh, you know, sorry I'm late for dinner. And she's like, oh, you should be. It smelled fantastic. And he's like, you know, they have these comments again where it's basically being like, well, I wasn't rushing home for the food. Like, I want to spend time with you, but that's fine. We're just going to skim past that. And so basically she tells him that they need to push the arrow through. And he's like, every moment with you is such a delight. Love you, babe. But so we have this moment where he's resting into Lara's shoulder, and Joel pushes the arrow through, and he's screaming into her shoulder and bracing on her.
Again, a little bit turned on.
Very much.
More than a little bit turned on.
This tension-filled moment. And she basically, like, they're on the ground in the mud, knee to knee, face to face, and they have this like brief little kiss. And then she basically just throws a tantrum because he starts talking about how he wants to make the world a better place. And she's like, well, it can't be. And she storms off, goes back to their house, gets his little stationery set out, and writes on the back of all of his letters in invisible ink very detailed descriptions on how to invade Ithacana.
And I knew where it was going at this point.
Yep. As soon as that happened, I was like, well, this is unpleasant.
Yes.
So then we have the next bit is my least favorite bit of the whole book. Kind of, it leads into one of my favorites, but it starts off very unfortunate with Snake Island, which is an island full of snakes.
Exactly as it sounds.
It's awful. And Aaron is being stupid because he was being like, I'll die for my kingdom. And she's like, you're going to fucking die because no one will stop coming for this country because of where it sits. And so that's the tantrum. But then he basically goes, well, you think I'm going to die? I'm going to go and test that theory on Snake Island. We have this moment where he's like, basically he's wanting to race the snakes. He's like, and then the snakes go at him, and then he runs back to the boat. But this leads into one of my favorite scenes of the book where he's running back to the boat. It's essentially in slow motion. The snakes are jumping for him, but he is dodging, except he's dodging this one snake, and he doesn't see the other big motherfucking snake that comes around the corner and is about to kill him. But Lara does. And without even thinking, she grabs his bow, she grabs an arrow from a quiver, and she's whirling, and she launches the arrow as she's turning. Like, she doesn't stop and aim. It's gone, and it's perfectly through the snake's mouth, and it saves Aaron. He jumps in, and
it was amazing.
Fantastic. And then basically he's like, I didn't know you could shoot. And she's like, well, you never asked. But she's going, they've all seen that.
Fuck.
But Jaw, being the absolute gentleman that he is, he's like, the two are arguing. Lara's being like, you're fucking stupid. And Aaron's being like, well, I've got reasons. And Jaw's like, both of you time out on the sandbar. And I mean, I was so excited because I was like, they're going to fuck on the sandbar. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be Pirates of the Caribbean, Will Turner, Elizabeth marriage. It's going to be that.
Yeah.
It was not. No. They just talk.
It's very unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate.
Sand in places though.
Yeah, but if there was one time I was going to be all right with sand, it was going to be that.
Yeah, look, I would have been all right with it in that situation too.
But absolutely not.
No. But then at the end of this chapter, basically, Jaw comes back and he's like, so what are we doing? We going home? And he's like, actually, no, we're going to Madrid. Sorry, every time Madrid does.
He's like, Lara's being a little bitch and she still thinks somehow I'm an asshole. So we're going to go show her what an asshole her dad actually is.
Exactly.
Great idea, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, I was very here for it. And I was very much here for it. Absolutely. So basically, they dress Lara up to look like a boy. And they're like, yeah, this is my cousin. And they go undercover. And they meet basically multiple people in Madrid that confirm Aaron's story. And we end up meeting, this is one of my favorite parts as well. So we end up meeting Marisol.
Marisol.
I was thinking of
not a Risol.
Okay, we're gonna call her Risol from now on.
Just chuck her on the Barbie.
Okay. So we meet Risol and she's a barmaid, and clearly her and Aaron were something. They were fucking. And Aaron basically says that he will need a bed for him and his crew, and one of her eyebrows rises, and because she's like, oh, you'll need a bed for yourself as well, and you won't be staying in my bed. And Lara's internal monologue is like, one of Rissol's eyebrows rose, and Lara fought the urge to punch her in her pretty little nose. And I was like, do it,
please. But then we find out a bit more information. We find out that her dad is basically Vladimir Putin.
And he is.
Yeah.
Oh, what a comparison.
Yes, it is. He's
Why is it always Russia?
Yeah.
It's Russia. Look, he's pulled a Vladdy, and Madrid basically thinks that he's the bee's knees, and he is not. He's not indeed. Lara discovers this, and she goes, Lara and her sisters hadn't been isolated in the desert compound for their safety. They hadn't even been kept there to conceal their father's plans from Ithacana. Not really. It had been to keep Lara and her sisters from the truth, because if they'd known their mission was not driven by the need to right a wrong, but by their father's endless greed, how willing would any of them have been to betray a husband, to tear apart a nation, to see a people slaughtered? Promises and threats and bribes were paltry motivators compared to the fanaticism that had been burned into her and her sisters' selves. But for Lara, the fanaticism burned no longer.
Fuck yeah.
This next chapter is like a fever dream for me. So Aaron's like, she's a fucking spy. I fucking know it. He can see the cogs turning in her brain and the devastation. And he's like, holy shit, I've seen this before. This is someone that actually believed in the story and is now devastated. She's a spy. So he follows her, and she's basically going through the city, and he's like, fuck, if she is going to go into that palace, I have to kill her. And we get to this moment where she's standing in the shadows across the road from the castle essentially, and he's got an arrow pulled and like aimed at her, and he is so scared that she is going to take that step and that he's going to have to kill her. And Jaw's standing there being like, you don't have to do this, I will do it, you shouldn't have to do this. And he's like, no, I'm going to do it. And then Lara turns and runs away, and Aaron literally vomits.
He vomits. That fucking killed me.
I know. But then Lara gets so sloshed after this because she needs to cope. She can't cope with all of the shit that's going on. When she realizes everything, her life is a fucking lie. She's not saving the country from a tyrant. Her dad is the tyrant.
Exactly.
Yep.
Fucking cunt. And in Lara's internal monologue, we find out that she's gone back to the palace to kill her father with her bare hands.
I would have loved that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
What a way to end. That would have been a great scene.
absolutely.
I hope we get it.
I do too.
And basically what we find out is that, well, Aaron has admitted to being in love with her at this point. When he throws up, he admits to being in love with her. So I'm like, oh my God, the poor guy, he's fallen in love with this woman and she's, oh God, oh dear. And bear in mind, the fucking letters, she's still got that fucking note. It's all happened. So
we're just never going to talk about, apparently.
Exactly. We're just going to run around that. So Aaron comes to look for her and she's drunk as hell. And she says, I'm sorry for being so terrible. You deserve someone better than me. And he says, since the moment I set eyes on you in Southwatch, there has been no one but you. Even if I'm a goddamn fool for it, there will never be anyone but you. Oh!
Which also, I love that scene. She's getting sloshed at the bar and then she turns to leave and stumbles out and Aaron's just been sitting there watching her.
Yeah.
And you're like, how long have you been there? We don't know. But he's obviously watched her literally just getting sloshed to punish herself.
Smashed.
Oh, yeah. And then he thinks to himself, Aaron knew his wife well enough to tell when she was pissed off, that silent simmering burn that caused any sane individual to give her a wide berth, whether they'd realised it or not. And he's describing her being hungover. And I was like, yes.
True.
Now that is relatable. Yes, it is.
Very relatable.
I also love how he keeps referring to her as his wife.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but he's like, my wife. I'm like, yeah.
It's a sucker for me.
It is, yeah.
And then he's just hanging out the next day waiting for Lara to wake up from her hangover and the magpie shows up and he's like, what's up, my dude? Fancy you being here. Aren't you meant to be in your own country? It's very intriguing that you're here, lol. And he plays it cool, but internally he's like, this is the problem. Mm-hmm. This is a huge problem. And then the magpie and him basically kind of had this like tension moment, but then they part ways. And he's like, I've got to calmly grab my hungover wife and we need to run very, very fast. So they do a little escape.
So Lara knows that if she's captured, they will make her talk. And she goes to pull so that they run to the boat. She sees the magpie. The magpie sees her. They have this moment of realization that she knows she's turned. And Lara's gone, if we don't get out of here, they're going to capture me and they're going to make me talk. So she's grabbed one of her knives and she's fully prepared to slit her own throat so she doesn't have to give up any of their secrets. And Aaron stops her and he grabs the knife and he throws it away. Just fuck already, please.
Honestly.
That whole scene, so they're on the boats, they're escaping, they make it out. It's fantastic. And then they have the moment where Lara confesses. She basically tells the whole story. And yet while she is confessing, he's like, did you tell any secrets? She's like, no, I didn't. And yet she doesn't mention the fucking paper that is sitting in his hidden drawer that he is going to use for a letter. That seems like the moment to go, I haven't sent anything yet, but I did have a moment where I nearly gave in, and it's, you need to burn all your paper.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like, why would you not?
Made me so angry. But here we are.
Here we are. And, well, Aaron's a little bit scared of his sister after this whole run-in with Magpie in Madrid. And when they confront her on the bridge, she's a little bit upset with him and with Lara because she doesn't like Lara, as has been established. And they get into a disagreement. There's a fight. Lara sort of moves to be like, please stop. And she's like, this doesn't involve you. Pushes her into the water.
Off the bridge.
Yeeted her.
Very much yeeted her.
She then has an entanglement with a shark.
But this is after Aaron literally dives in immediately after her.
Oh, yes.
Because this bitch can't swim.
No.
He's like, I'm gonna save you, babe. Don't you worry. My wife. But in my brain, right? So the next chapter is, I'm like, oh fuck, oh shit. Aaron, he's back in mid-watch and he's talking about writing King's letter. And I'm like, you better fucking not. You better fucking not. You better not. And then he does. He writes the letter and it's basically saying that Ithacana is never going to choose sides in a war. It's Switzerland. And they are neutral. And he gives it to Eli. And Eli's like, all right, I'm gonna go send this for you, sir. No worries. And I am literally fucking crying at this point.
And there's this whole moment as well where in the letter he says any actions by you will be considered as war against its queen and we will protect her. And you're like, which again, if you take anything from this, it's the importance of having open communication.
Yes, it is.
If we had just had one conversation.
One.
Just one. That's all we ask for. But look, we get distracted for a little while because now there's sex. So she realizes a little too late that she does need to go and destroy all of the letters. So she breaks in and she stages this big scene with the cat and they spill ink all over the paper. They've ruined. She counts them and she's like, yes, when I was in here before, there were 26. And she's counted them. Yes, there's 26. Incorrect, there's not.
There ain't 26, bro.
No. But she's done her job. She feels relieved. She's like, look, I'm happy with this. She looks outside. Aaron is standing outside in the eye of a bloody typhoon. And it's like, okay, interesting. Somewhat unsafe.
He's just chilling.
Not recommended.
No.
But she runs to him. And then it's raining and her dress is getting wet. And she's
getting wet.
Oh,
indeed.
We all are.
It's fucking on.
And they fuck. And it's beautiful.
It's so fucking good. Oh my gosh. So I've got some key quotes from this scene for you, okay? So Aaron's like, God, you're beautiful, insufferable, and venom-tongued, and the most incredible woman I've set eyes on. And I'm like, absolutely, yes.
In my wedding vows, please.
Please. And then just this sentence, ready? Her thighs trembled beneath the floodgates of her need to have him. What? I was like, oh wow, all right. I'm picturing literally just gushing water.
Yeah, that's a lot of water.
Yeah, so when I said she was wet, apparently what I meant was floodgates.
Floodgates, literally.
There's a lot of natural lubrication there and I'm happy for her.
Absolutely. Go girl. And I'm basically getting whiplash. I'm getting whiplash between the tenderness of him like kissing her stomach and resting his cheek against it, and then him climbing over her with the grace of a panther and like on the hunt and like catching hold of her hands and putting them above her head. And I'm like, oh my God. And then we get this fucking quote from Aaron and I'm like, oh no. He goes, I love you and I will love you no matter what the future brings, no matter how hard I need to fight. I will always love you. No. And then fucking Lara, she doesn't say I love you straight away. She says her internal monologue is she would fight for him, she would bleed for him, and she would die for him. And then as falling asleep, she says, I love you. She whispers it.
So we have these next little chapters where it's all starshine and sunshine and loveliness. And they're just so in love when they're fucking and it's great and nothing's wrong. Why would anything be wrong? Oh, except for the fact that Lara, you little bitch, you forgot to say something very important and we're all just acting like that didn't happen. So basically from this point out, I'm pissed because you know what's coming. Yeah, absolutely no.
You do.
Yeah. And then they go to Aaron Hall and it's basically the same thing. It's just more fucking. Now they're just in somewhere different and doing it. But we still haven't discussed the letter.
Yeah,
we have not.
And we have like, oh, good, she's being great with the people. Everyone starts to like her. She's fitting in so nicely. Isn't that fantastic? Except nope.
No, not at all. And everyone's just hiding under the fucking rock that is like the shitstorm that is coming. The shitstorm. And And so one of the next chapters, there's basically another of the meetings between all of like the island commanders, whatever.
The council meetings,
The
the
council
war room.
meetings, that's it. And Lara gets invited to this one, and everyone gets a little bit antsy about this. But there's a woman called Emra who is a commander of one of the other islands, and she actually says that there was a ship near her area, and on the ship there was a very beautiful woman with golden hair, and she had a maid with her, and her dress was the same style as those that Lara wears. And I'm like, which fucking sister?
Yep.
Which fucking sister is it? We know.
Yep.
Exactly right. And Lara knows too. She's putting the dots together. She's like, oh shit, something's about to happen here. And she needs to tell Aaron. So she pretends to faint, and it's all dramatic, and he carries her out, and he's like, this better be fucking serious. Like, what the fuck are you doing? And she's like, I need to talk to you.
I absolutely love that moment where he's like, look, like, what is going on? And she's like, yeah, I haven't fucking fainted. I need to talk to you. And he's like, absolutely, I fucking knew it, you bitch.
You fucking bitch.
And then we have these follow-up moments where they cut some trades, and they all these lovely political moments, which I'm just going to skim past because we know what's coming, and why are we waiting? But here we are. We have this lovely moment, which again, they're coming home, and they're like, oh look, normally we'd have the lights on. That's weird. It's dark. Oh, that's right. Gosh, we can't hear anyone. Our little helper Eli, he must be around here somewhere. Gosh. And they have that moment where like they go into their bedroom, and Aaron goes ahead and she's grabbing something, and then she hears a noise. We have a lovely family reunion.
That's a terrible way to describe it.
She turns around, and there's the favorite child, Marilyn, and she's got a knife against Aaron's neck, and you're like, oh gosh.
Right.
Lara does not take that well, and Aaron's trying not to freak out. He's like, I thought you said you killed your sisters. And I'm like, well, did you want her to be a murderer or not? Pick a side.
Exactly.
But she can hear the little hissy of the bed, the snake in the bed, because again, that's a thing. And they use that as a distraction, and she brawls with their sister, and she basically gets her sister in a chokehold and snaps her neck. Just
done.
Yeah.
Aaron's freaking out about that. He's freaking out about a lot of things because he's realizing that this means there's trouble.
Yes. Before Mary Lynn, God rest her soul, guys, she does say, father and brother are waiting for you. And we realize then all of the war sirens start sounding, and Aaron,
All of them,
Lara realized that they had just come from the barracks at Midwatch, and everyone who was there are completely unaware of what's going on, and they're about to be ambushed. And Lara left very detailed, very, very detailed instructions on
she
how
was
to
thorough.
Yeah, she did a good job. And well, they've invaded, and it's not good.
It is not good.
Aaron's not taking it well, obviously, which is fair,
And then we fucking find out that Taryn, she fucking is dead. And she's like, I am so sorry. Lara's like, I am so sorry. And Aaron is like, why? You got everything you wanted. Oh my God. And he is so broken. And so am I. And he turns around. He''s like, I loved you. I trusted you with myself, with my kingdom. And then we get this moment where he's like, I can't kill you. I cannot do it. So he gets his bow and arrow, and he's like, go. Oh my God, I love this quote. He shouted the word at her, leveling the arrow at her forehead, even as tears poured down his cheeks. Oh, I never want to see your face. I never want to hear your name. If there were a way to score you from my life, I'd do it. But until I find the strength to put you in a goddamn grave, this is all I have. Now run. And she runs. She does. And I was like, oh no, I cannot.
No. And then we flash forward. That's the end of that chapter. Now we're in a bar and we're drinking ourselves to oblivion.
Love your work, Lara.
That would be my logical next step too. So she's in this bar, she's drowning her sorrows, and she hears rumors that Aaron has been captured by her father and is being held in Madrid.
Madrid.
And well, we can't have that, can we?
No, we cannot.
So then we get this badass motherfucking scene where at first I thought, is she about to bust into a jail drunk? But no, she's about to bust. I wish that would have been fantastic. But no, she basically hustles back to Ithaca, busts into a super secret meeting and is like, what's up? Bet you thought you'd seen the last of me. Let's go get my husband. And at first Anna is like, no, like they're like, what is a whore gonna offer us? Like, what are you gonna do? You sleep your way in? And I imagine this, like she's just like cracks her knuckles.
Yeah.
And then we have this quote, for 15 years, she'd been trained how to infiltrate an impenetrable kingdom, how to discover weaknesses and exploit them, how to destroy her enemies, how to be merciless. She'd been born for this. And she basically takes out a room of guards, doesn't kill them, but disarms them to show what she's capable of. And she's like, I'm the queen. I'm the captain now. Let's go get my husband.
I fucking love that. And the quote that she says is, you need me because I know our enemy. I was raised by them to be their greatest weapon. And you've seen firsthand what I can do. What they never considered is that their greatest weapon might turn on them. You need me because I am the queen of Ithaca. And it's time my father was brought to his knees.
And that is where the book ends.
Oh,
and I am...
Then Ellie starts Googling what happens
in Trader Queen.
Mm-hmm.
So Trader Queen is obviously going in the fishbowl.
It is. If you didn't guess this already.
Because I can't live like this.
No, I cannot either. And you know, it's a good book if once you've finished it, you immediately jump into trying to find fan art and music references.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I did. And guys, I'm straight away from Taylor Swift. I know I said I wouldn't do it. I know I said that she had a song for every book. And look, she does. But I don't want to recycle her songs. She's better than that. I'm better than that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking a step away.
Okay.
It's fine. It's not forever. It's just a break. Okay. Anywho.
Why do I feel like my parents are getting divorced?
I know. It's a tragic time. But I had found this song. It's by an artist called Ruelle, and it's called War of Hearts.
I fucking love you, Ruelle.
Honestly, so many. My fantasy playlist is just, I have this song in my fantasy playlist.
So the lyrics are, I can't help but want you, even though I try not to. I can't help but want you. I know I'll die without you. I can't help but be wrong in the dark because I'm overcome in this war of hearts. I can't help but want oceans to part because I'm overcome in this war of hearts. And it's just so dramatic and theatrical, and there's things happening, and
yes, well, I honestly have a open playlist, like a public playlist on my Spotify that is called Balls Deep into Enemies to Lovers, and then in brackets fantasy. That is it. If you would like, this song is one of those songs, but it's literally every song I have ever. It's over, how many hours is it? 8 hours and 18 minutes worth of songs, of fantasy songs that I like to listen to with my books. So I find a song pretty much for every book. I'm like, yes.
Amazing.
And then we get into the fan art, guys.
Oh, goody. All right, I'll jump in first because Brian's got a few. So there is a few that I really, really love. So Dominique Wesson, which is DOMINIQUEWESSON for those.
She's a queen.
Yes, she is. She does a lot of fan art, and
she's done the covers for Trader Queen.
Yes, she has. Yes. So she does this fan art of Aaron and Lara that I absolutely love. It's their individual, like it's almost like their headshots of models. It's beautiful. And then we also have the beautiful Darkness art, which is actually the newest artwork for Bridge Kingdom. Like the cover, fucking amazing. And I was here for it. I was ready. It's like the typhoon scene where they're kissing. It's everything. Yes.
Obsessed.
We
also follow up with, we've got some cute work by Angela Animates, and she's got Aaron and Lara, where it's very cheeky and adorable and cartoony. We've also got one of our favorites, which is BX Romance.
That is my favorite artwork I think I've ever seen of
that was my favorite too.
It's so fucking good. And we've also got Melly Scribbles, who's done one of Lara individually, and she's very glammed up. It's a gorgeous moment. And then we've also got Natalie Byrne Dart, she's done, I think they were used for possibly some cover sleeves, but it's the wedding. And also them sitting by that ocean moment.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I love it all.
It's all fantastic.
It's
It's one of the reasons we love fantasy books, because the fan art is fucking mint.
honestly.
Yes.
On that note, so next episode we are covering Nevernight.
Nevernight.
And then now it is time for the next one.
Yay! And so just so everyone's aware as well, we have decided to put in Trader Queen in the fishbowl. So we'll be adding that one. And then we also are thinking about adding Crescent City and Throne of Glass.
Definitely.
Chuck them in there.
Chuck him in.
Chuck them in.
They're all
They're
going
waiting.
in, guys.
They're waiting.
So excited. All right.
Here you go. Go, 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 go.
You're going to be so stoked, Georgia. 1,000 boy kisses. Fun, right?
That's actually one of our one of the people on our Instagram recommended that one. So very excited.
Buying it right now.
Yay. Oh my gosh, it's such a good book. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry the entire way through it.
Oh my god.
So traumatic.
But thank you for joining us for another episode of A Book and a Bev, guys.
Thank you.
As per usual, please like, follow and subscribe, as the youth say. If you want to watch the videos of us being fucking ridiculous, we're on YouTube. You can listen to us wherever you find your podcasts. We also are on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
There may or may not be a video of me and Georgia trying to twerk. It depends on how awful it is.
I don't want to use it. I don't
want to use it.
No.
We're very Caucasian.
We are.
But it's fine.
It's fine.
That's us, guys.
All right.
See you next week.
Bye.
So bye.